Hi guys, I have never taught a sales training course that I was probably less qualified to teach in my life. And yet they say those that can't teach things, so maybe it's the one I should teach more than any other. Because there is nothing I am horrible at more than handling complaints. How to handle complaints is a gift. But there are a couple different structures here. The very first one is, how do you handle them formally from a corporate standpoint? I'm going to cover that briefly. Marianne, if I handle this poorly in explanation, put a little note in print under the segment just to guide through. But if there's a formal complaint that needs to come up the ladder, please just send it on to Kelly or Marianne. It will be responded to and handled accordingly. When someone calls home office to complain on a franchisee, we handle as best we can, listen to them, follow through. We make it very clear to them that every office is an independently owned and operated business, and that we do not have the authority to force certain action. But we will make note and we will send it through. And if a franchisee has too many, it can reach a non-compliance issue. But our whole goal is just to guide through. We will then forward that down to the franchisee to make sure they're aware. And we will request that they let us know how that was resolved and handled. That's basically it. That's the formal structure. So if you have any questions on that, please call. To the extent that there should have been a little more detail, God bless her, I love her, Marianne will clean that up for me. Coming back to how to deal with them on a personal level, how to handle complaints. Number one, I'm dead serious. And guys, for what it's worth, I'm going to treat this like I am talking to my own staff, okay? The number one way to handle complaints: fix them before they happen. Period. Our business is nothing but communication. It is nothing but communication. All we are paid to do is communicate. That's it. What's the biggest headache we have? The biggest hassle is communicating. I don't know why. I don't know why it's a struggle. I don't know why it's so hard. Is it laziness? Is it forgetfulness? Is it not caring? Is it, oh my gosh, I want to tell them because it's going to be news they're not going to like and they're going to be mad at me. Quit trying to be loved by deferring truth. It does not work. It doesn't work in religion. It does not work in politics. It does not work in a marriage. There is nowhere in the world it works. Getting the truth, communicating in the nicest way you can, even if it's bad, brings beautiful resolution. Even if the resolution is somebody looks at you and goes, I hate you, you're a liar, that is 1,000,000,000 times better than them finding out some other darker way and going, I hate you or you're a liar and I'm coming down with hell on my back because I have to seek revenge. Guys, trust me, communication is us. You want to fix a complaint before it happens? It's called communication. Talk to the client. Do your job. Follow through. If you're at sales, you don't sign them and kick them. You follow up. Hey, how's it going? Are you happy? If they are, they're not going to be upset. Nobody's ever going to be upset. Nobody ever signed a contract that was sitting there working through design or finding land or whatever that was like, would you quit calling me once a cheek to see if I'm okay? No. No. When have you ever called your spouse in the day just to check up and they're like, oh my gosh, why do you check up on me so much? It's never happened. People like to be loved, okay? Calling and following up is great. You want to know where the client's mad, where the complaint's gone to the point it can be fixed, is when you didn't. You signed a contract, well, I turn them over to the designer, they're no longer mine, they belong to someone, and they sit there and rot. And then finally you're like, well, why ain't I being paid on that? Hey, what's going on? 2-3 months, they're so glad you finally called so they could tell you, oh, how they don't like you, and your deal is dead. Communicate. Follow up. Just, hey, just think about you. How's things going? Nothing wrong with that call. You have to do it. If you're big enough that you'll pass it on to somebody else, if that person is not following up, if you have a planning consultant whose job is from the time they sign, it is their job to handle the site review. It is their job to handle the plans and plan review. It's their job to schedule and run the spec meeting. It's their job to stay with them and get them in for the job costing and all set all the way to the bank. That person has to call every single client a minimum of once a week. If that person is beyond positive that every single client is just thrilled, happy, and perfect and being handled great, I don't care. That person must call those clients personally once a week. He cannot, she cannot have a secretary do it. I don't care if they have to stay till midnight on Friday night, if they have to come in on Sunday afternoon, Saturday morning, I don't care. That person has to call every single client a minimum of once a week, even if it's only to say, hey, just want to let you know, they're still working on that design. Hey, how you doing? Did you find any land? It has to be done. If it doesn't, then you created the problem. I will use this example. We are talking about fixing disease by living a healthy lifestyle. What is easier, cancer treatment or eating right and not using tobacco products? Says the tobacco product user, and yes, I like to dip. But it's true. You want to be healthy, you want to not have a heart attack? Eat right and exercise young. Trying to fix it at this age? Still better than not doing anything, but preventative. Communication is preventative medicine. You want to handle it, be in communication. Once they go to the bank, you can't just say, I submitted to the bank, call me when you're closing. Whoever's in charge of that client from the time they were submitted to the bank till they close and get their manual has to communicate at least once a week, period. Whoever that person is, and again, I don't care if they work till 1 a.m., 7 days a week and no break. Yes, they probably should come to you and say, hire me some help, but I don't care. They must be in communication once a week, period. I'm just assuming they're doing their job by also being in communication with the lenders at least once a week on every single deal as well, but you have to. This is not just preventative medicine, it is what they paid us to do. This is who and what we are. You want to stop customer complaints, you do that. You want to stop customer complaints in construction, you just do your basic job. You've talked to them every week. If there's not a need to be on site every week, whoever is handling that job has to talk to them once a week. At least once a month, whoever is the head must. So for example, if you are an office that has a head construction consultant, or you're an owner and you have a field construction consultant that does that side, that field consultant must talk to that client a minimum of once a week. And by the way, turn in a report. The head consultant, the owner, must read those reports every week, and a minimum of once a month must contact and communicate with that client. Why? Because what if this person isn't? Or what if this person is, but they develop such a relationship that the client's got a headache and they just, I don't want to tell him, but they will tell you. It keeps the flow of communication right. It must be done. It has to be done. If you're a one-person office, you run it like a one-person office and you go. But nip it in the bud. This is the perfect way. And I tell you true, guys, maybe I'm not the right guy for complaints, but I know this one. This one I'm good at. This one I know. Communication fixes. You want the cure to cancer? As from a business standpoint, I'm not trying to be facetious. If anyone has a problem, please forgive me. I'm not trying to fit. I can absolutely cure it by telling you how to never get it. You want to fix complaints? You communicate, you will nip them in the bud. Period. I've never had one that was at a level that was anything that mattered that didn't happen that we had communicated with correctly. You don't lose deals if you communicated correctly. You don't have them fall out from the time that they signed till the time they begin construction if you communicated correctly. You'll lose some, but you'll lose less than 5%. If you're not communicating correctly, guess what? You lose 20, 25, 30, 40%. You want to know why they're not getting through? They signed a contract, my gosh, it's taken 5 months to close. I almost guarantee you somebody's dropping the ball on flow of communication. Must be done. Add your checklist, add your alarms, whatever you have to do. All right, enough on that. So we've reached the point where that's not where we are. We have dropped the ball in somewhere or another, or I'm full of poo and there is no way to avoid this and the bad disease has happened. How do you handle it? Number one, this is the area where I'm bad. I don't have a flight mentality very well. My blood gets up quickly and I'm more of a mirror. You're mad, I'm going to get mad back at you. Sometimes that does work, and I will deal with that briefly. Sometimes what you need to do is mirror. They come at you angry, listen for a second, then you come back strong. If you are 100% right, and I mean, okay, 95 or better, it's the client is straight, dead, wrong, lying, whatever, and you are, on this rock I shall stand to my death because I am in holy righteousness, then mirror it back. Get angry back, go whatever, talk over, and pop the facts because you want to have control. You want to control that situation, and that is how you do it. Okay? More often than not, when a client is that upset, either A, that is not necessary, or B, you don't feel quite so positive of your righteousness that you can do that. The best way to handle complaints, period, when they're an emotional complaint, is to be the rock on the beach and let them break against you. Let them talk, and you passively listen. I had an employee once, God, I think his name was Victor or whatever, I wish I could remember. Weird dude, not a great salesman or anything else, but you have never met a man in your life more gifted at handling complaints. People could come in with hate and rage. I mean, holy jihad hate were coming. And this dude they could insult his children. And he would just peacefully smile and shut up. Because you know how you're the rock, you know how you break, you let them come in and you just passively listen. Best thing you can do is sit down, because standing seems a little more confrontational. So you want to, even if they won't, even if they're upset, you want to say, well, let me sit down and please tell me. And you just go, and you're like a therapist. The less you say, the better. The sadder you keep your body language, the more sympathetic, the better. You want to lean forward. You want to be open. You want to be slightly folded teardrop-shaped look. And you want to sympathetically just, and when you have to, ask, but ask feeling questions, ask connectivity questions, ask gentle emotion questions. Well, how does that feel? What do you think? And let them go. And here's why. Here's why that works. Because when they are at that level of upset, when they are at that rage stage, when they are, it is emotional. And that is an emotional burning on fuel. That fuel cannot sustain. It's like gunpowder. It can only really be fired once. Have you ever been so angry that you're just, I'm going to kill him, you're hot, and you are righteous indignation coming with the sword of heaven, and you're, and you finally get to that person, and you just let them have it. I mean, you're the Hulk. And then you find out that there was one person above them, so you got to do it again. You know what happens? You already turned back into Bruce Banner. You can't get it back. You go to the next one, you're like, I'm real upset with y'all. And it goes from the details and the power and the majesty and all the facts and to, you did me wrong. And it's just, all of a sudden you became the logical calm person. Why? Because it's gone. It's burned. You only have one shot. Your gunpowder's gone. You only had so much oil in the tank and you turn it on for a big light and it's just gone. It's flared out of you. If it's truly a massive one, you can refill the tank. Sometimes if it's, oh, you don't understand how severely I'm on this, sometimes you can get it there again with a quick refuel. But even then, I don't care, 2, maybe 3, eventually you're going to burn out and you become logical. And once you have shot that it has to attack you, but with the old bullets, you've shot the wad out of the gun. The bullet's gone, the gunpowder's flown. You can't ever really get that back. And you start becoming logical about the flow. If that is true of you, it is true of everyone. Best thing you can do is let them, like a raging surf, blow over you and let it just let it go. Listen to it all. And it will flow back. Then you can start to have some intelligent communication. Okay? Now, let's say you have the client that is just so mature, they're better than me, and they never get mad. They're so mature, they've never hulked in their life. Or they have already done that and they burned out against one of your employees or yourself or whatever. And by the way, if you are not good at letting that happen, hiring someone that can be the rock versus raging coming back is a very helpful tool. Then you can come in later. Once that has happened, once you're into communication, I can't be perfect on this. The very best thing I could tell you, taking the holiest and best road, is now you want to find out what the problem is and how to fix it. End of the day, there's no purpose here other than what is the problem and how to fix it. If it was my mistake, my opinion, I own it. Don't try to deny it. Don't try to fade from it. Own it. I pooped. I spilt. It's me. Here's what I'm going to do to fix it and make it right. And always make it right plus. Always Baker doesn't it, because you're the one that screwed up. If you just screwed up a little, you be responsible for yours. It isn't even your job to make them be right on theirs. If they were 80% wrong and you were 20, I don't care. You don't worry about the 80. The 80 isn't on you. You were supposed to be 100% right. You fix your 20 and you fix it to the tune of 21. You have to own yours and you make it right. And if the client's denying they're 80% fault at this, you do yours. Trust me, more often than not, they'll come back later and okay. And you do that because it's the right moral and ethical thing to do. And for those of you that don't care about that, you do it because it's also the best thing to do legally, because you at least did a fair effort. Mistakes are going to happen in life. And the court systems, just like most moral people, realize that. What they care mostly is, did you do what you could to fix it? Step up and do. There are going to be situations where that's not the case. There are going to be situations where somebody they love to find a chance. They're the ones that, ooh, I got hit by a car, I'm going to get paid. They're going to try to find a way to get paid. There's ones that it's reached the point where it's gotten so bad and the client has refused to communicate for whatever reason, and there's no resolving. This is going to be where we're going to divorce, period. Question is, how brutal is it going to be? When that happens, you are in a realm of negotiation. Now you are negotiating. They want parted from you, and no one has ever parted from someone and not wanted some financial recompense. So you're probably wanting money from them. They're wanting money from you. You are now negotiating. Do not lie, do not cheat, do not steal, do not mislead, but also don't be a putz. So watch what you say, watch what you know, phrase it wisely, phrase it carefully, and phrase it truthfully. Because trust me on this, what little money you save isn't going to matter near as much to you as the stresses internally that come from not being truthful. You will never miss the 10 grand. You will today, you will tomorrow. It may hurt for 3 weeks, but if you lied and broke, long after that 10 grand's gone, that guilt eats at you. And yes, I speak from experience. That's how I learned these things. And no, I learned it a long time ago. It hasn't happened in a while. But handle it. And if you handle it from the standpoint of, I'm going to do what's right, these will line out together. But do try to read the signs when somebody's trying to set you up, when somebody's trying to get you to admit you were wrong. And no, so don't own. To go back to the other, and I've got in here because I'm going too long. That 80-20, dude, I mean it. Own yours. But do not own their 80. I know it's confusing. No, don't hold them. If they're not willing to own it, that's okay. Don't fight. My God, you're going to admit you were wrong more than me. No, don't have that battle. Own yours. But don't take theirs. Example, client went and hired a terrible person to do their concrete. You gave him a good concrete guy, and you had a bid and you had a backup, and the guy that had the bid and everything went on a drunken bender and wasn't available. And the client's like, oh, you're so upstate. So they go and hire their own. And you didn't emphatically enough point out this guy seems to be setting up wrong, and the slab's all crooked. You would say, I'm so sorry. I wish I had been with you and had been able to be clear and contact the second bid and seen if they could have matched. I'm so sorry that it's there. What I can do, my 20%, which is actually 2 in this scenario, is this is how to fix it. But I wouldn't say, man, I screwed up. I should have made sure you had a better concrete guy, and you know, it's on me. I should have been here. I should have been here watching the whole time they poured because I just had a weird feeling about the guy. No, you're taking ownership of their mistake. You would not do that. But at the same time, you will take ownership of whatever level it's yours. Conversely, you want to turn a nice person in a fixable situation into a real hot, raging complaint? You want to fill the barrel with gunpowder? Look at them and go, well, you're the idiot that hired that putz. It's your job. That's on you. I'm not here for you. I don't support you. I ain't going to try to help you find a resolution. That's your stupidity. You're a moron. I do that a little more severe, but I guarantee you, I've even had employees that have been that stupid and handled it in that way. Again, own yours. Don't own theirs, but don't hold a mirror and force them to own their mistake either, because people will defense up, man. They will defense up. You will bring their inner Hulk, if only for protection. I hope that made sense. If it didn't, please send me a note, and I will do another one of these that hopefully explain just that one little bit better. I could keep going, but I've gone too long. Jaegers, give me that signal. Appreciate you guys. I hope you never have a complaint, and I hope I never have one either. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.